Go!
Ah, go! And we are live.
Hello, world.
Hey, David.
How's it going, Tiff?
Good. Shall we do it? Shall we pod?
Let's pod.
But I'm ching.
We nailed that. That was way better than last time.
Yeah,
Good
way
for
better.
us.
Yeah,
Good for us.
you knew what was coming.
I knew. I did.
Um,
I have icebreakers for you today instead of the other way around. What do you think of that?
Oh my gosh, my jaw is on the floor.
I know, right? Look at me. This is like the one thing I kind of did prepare beyond the topic that we're going to talk about, which I feel like maybe for the future and for now, we can kind of like hit on that at the beginning so people that are listening or watching know kind of where we're going with this. So,
Yeah.
today's episode, I think we're going to go back and talk a little bit about our spoiler alerts. We're going to do some icebreakers. And then we're also going to hit on something that we talked about in our old format, which was Tiffany sort of woke me up to what Do Not Disturb was capable of. And I questioned it. I questioned her.
Big time. Questioned it big time.
I really was
As
like,
did his wife.
it cannot work. It cannot be a good thing for what we do. And it was a game changer for me. So we're going to get into that, which will also lead into productivity and creativity and all of those kind of things. So that's kind of where we're going. But let's break some freaking
Before
ice, shall we?
Let's break some freaking ice. Wow. I'm just going to sit back then and listen.
That's right. If you have them too, you can do yours too. But I just have two quick ones.
Oh,
I just happened to think of them today.
Okay.
If you could have dinner with one person who would be willing to answer your questions or talk to you and like be open, that's a caveat. Who would that person be? Living. Currently living first.
Currently living first. I think it might be Shonda Rhimes.
Nice. Okay.
I don't know why I said that, but I just think that she's spectacular and
Yeah.
she's got such a vision. She's not an actress, but she's definitely in the world and she works with
sure.
a lot of actors. So I feel like that might be a really fascinating conversation.
She's a storyteller for sure.
Indeed, a storyteller. Yeah, that was just what came top of mind. So I guess that's
like
what my
that.
gut is telling me.
I like it.
Ooh, are you going to answer the same question?
I can. I wasn't prepared to, so I don't know what I was going to say. Living.
Yeah.
First person that pops into my head, and I think it's good, is Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
I would really love to because I just feel like all the different things he does are at least like related to what I try to do. And he's so good at what he's done and he's been so consistent. And his partnership with somebody is sort of like a new leap for me with like, I'm partnering with Ali a lot now with storytelling, with Comic Book Club and other stuff. And like understanding how that works so well too. And how you can continue to sustain work as that partnership too, I think I would love to ask some questions about that. So that's my living one.
I love
Who's your
that.
living or dead? Different or same?
Oh gosh. Gregory Hines.
Okay. Gregory
He's
Hines.
just an all-time favorite. He was a dancer. He transitioned into acting, and I just love that journey that he took. And he was able to like meld the two together very successfully throughout his entire career.
Totally.
And, I'm a tap dancer, so he's just always been on my top 10 list.
I love that.
You?
I don't know if mine would change with dead currently. Like in my current mood, I might still pick Seth. I don't know. Like part of me wants to think of like a really historical figure because it'd be cool to like your opportunity to speak with somebody who's been alive any time. I think that would be fascinating to hear like somebody who lived, like, I don't know, a president that had to like Lincoln or, FDR or John F. Kennedy or any of those people. But I don't know. I'll stick with Seth.
All right. Wow. You got a fan, Seth. You got a fan.
That's right. He listens, of course.
Yeah. Obviously.
All right. Number 2. You ready?
Yeah.
If you were forced to have one meal for all of your meals going forward, what would that meal be? You can't ever have anything different. Or it can be start with a meal. Give me a meal.
Oh, wow.
Like a dog. Like literally like you get the same scoop of meal every meal.
Wow, that's really tough because like my healthy side is like vegan Caesar salad because love me a Caesar salad and I'm vegan.
Hmm.
And that would still be like satisfying a lot of like health requirements.
Sure.
But if I was to go guilty pleasure, and I know there might be a lot of pushback on this, but mac and cheese and peas. I know it
Ooh.
sounds weird because, black people are probably like, bitch, what? Mac and cheese and what?
And I
No.
was like, yeah.
But again, like half of me is like white. So
Yeah.
I found a mixture in the two. It provides protein, a
Hmm.
vegetable, and a pasta, and it's actually delicious and it rhymes. Mac and
I
cheese and
like
peas.
that. Mac and cheese and peas.
So, that might be a controversial answer, but that's
Nah.
my
I
that's
like
my
that. I like
answer.
that. I peas are I love peas, and I eat frozen peas as like a snack. I read that in something where it's like if you need like a snack that feels like something cold, like refreshing or whatever, like frozen peas have like a I don't know. Allie thinks I'm nuts, but I enjoy them. There's like a weird, refreshing, cold. You can't. It's not ice cream, but like it feels like a cold treat. And when I eat them, Lucy also, who's down below here, she loves the frozen peas, so we eat the frozen peas together.
Wow.
Love
My
the peas.
grandmother used to make a frozen pea salad. My white
Ooh.
grandmother used to make a
Okay.
frozen pea salad.
So
So
peas are a white person thing.
no, not necessarily, but the
Okay.
frozen the frozen pea, maybe that is a white people thing. I
Okay.
don't
All
know. I
right.
don't know. We'll see. Our listeners will tell us.
I love that. That's hilarious.
Did you answer that question? Is frozen
No,
peas your answer?
no,
No.
it's not. I would
Okay.
pick something different than frozen peas. I think if it was a meal, like the food, I would say is like pizza because you can do pizza in so many ways. Like you could do super thin, you could do a breakfast pizza, you could do like a pizza with arugula, and like you could do it much healthier if you wanted. But if I had to do a meal over and over again, it would probably be eggs. Like it would be like breakfast because I love breakfast food and I can do breakfast any time of the day. So like a version of breakfast with some eggs and other things like a lean meat, some fruit, some like I'd throw vegetables in if I knew it was going to be forever. Like my only meat like meal ever, I'd put some peas in there. But
Absolutely. Now
yeah,
I'm questioning my choice because I sometimes all I have is breakfast during the
yeah,
day. My name is Tiffany, and breakfast with Tiffany is my thing. So I might
nice.
change my answer to a breakfast meal as well, but I'll stick with mac and cheese and peas just to be controversial.
I love it.
Um, wow. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna save a couple of my icebreakers for our next one, and I'm just gonna throw in one more.
Let's
Hopefully it's
do
a
it.
quick one, but then we can wrap this up and get to the good stuff because we got some good stuff to get to.
Let's do it.
French fries or tater tots?
Oh, tater tots all day long.
Tater tots all day
Yeah.
long.
I don't know what that is about me, but yeah, if there's an option, if I'm given the choice, I will choose the
Mhm.
tots every time.
Wow.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna agree with you on that,
it's good.
mostly because there is less room for sogginess
I was gonna
with
say
the tater
bad
tot.
fries are way more common than bad tater tots. It's
Correct.
real hard to screw up a tater tot.
It really is. I
Yeah.
like a little bit of a crunch with my French fry, and if I don't always get that crunch with my French fry, I'm a little
Yep. It's
disturbed.
bummed. It's a bummer.
But there's very few tater tots that I've bitten into that didn't give me that satisfactory crunch.
Guilty pleasure is Sonic, which there aren't very many here, but I
Oh
grew up
yeah.
around Sonics, and we will sometimes drive to Duarte, which is where the nearest one is, and get Sonic like as just like a weird. We started doing it during COVID to get out of the house,
Oh yeah.
but Sonic is one of the only fast food places that's like gives you that option. It's like tater tots or fries, and she always gets fries. I always get tots, so I get to have a fry.
Monty's for the vegans. Monty's,
Monty's.
yes, they give you an option of tots, fries, or both. Hi, Lucy.
Oh no. If it keeps going, I'll mute and you can carry on the conversation for a second. Hey, Lucy, come here. Come talk to the people.
Oh no. She disagrees with us. She definitely is a fry girl, it sounds like. She's more of a fry girl than a tot girl.
Come
Uh,
here. And here she comes.
Lucy to the rescue.
Hey, thanks for protecting us from whatever dangers lurked outside our door. Come up and lay down.
Amazon. Thank you for protecting us from the dangers of Amazon.
Look at his face. For
He's
the
not-
people that aren't audio.
He's talking about me, you guys.
That's right. All right.
Okay. Well, I feel like the ice has been broketed.
It's broketed. Let's should we spoiler alert since White Lotus is done?
Let's move into some spoiler alerts.
All right.
To change. Don't forget to change us size-wise.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Just
For
sometimes.
sure. At
got a
some
lot on
point,
your
when one of
plate.
us carries a conversation, I'll move her around.
No.
So in the last episode, we talked about quite a few shows. We talked about Gemstones. We talked about White Lotus. But those were the only two that we are, I think, both consuming at the same time. Is that right? Because we've had other, like The Pit ended too, which I feel like if you're not watching The Pit, you really should check out The Pit. Pit was such a good show. But White Lotus ended. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
How do you feel?
David, I'm not satisfied.
Okay. ¿Por qué?
I am not satisfied with the ending of White Lotus. Now, it's mostly the family storyline that I am unsatisfied with. But yeah, I feel like he was able to wrap up a lot of what happened throughout the season pretty well. And thank God it was 90 minutes, because if it was going to be an hour, I was like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. I don't know if I can keep riding this bandwagon. But the family storyline, it just kind of felt like it was going somewhere, and it never got there. And I just was like, I can't believe that we're now just on this boat in like basically the exact same people that we were when we got here, except he's going to finish it off by saying things are about to change, but we'll get through it as a family. What? I don't know if you watched the little like ending.
I do.
Okay, great. You know what I'm talking about. Some people don't even know that happens because they automatically like take you out of the frame and take you into an advertisement.
Which
for
is
the next
so
show.
ridiculous.
I
so
know.
dumb. Like
Most
all
people
the
don't even
streamers
know
need to stop doing that. I know they want you to go to another episode, but let me watch the shit after the episode. Like, come on now.
If you're going to take the time to film the shit after the episode, like make sure that people know that it is there.
Yeah, you've spent money on it. Let us see it.
Yes. So gosh, where was I even going with that? Oh yes, Mike White was discussing how he had read about a gentleman like in the real world that did that to his family, that like poisoned them or killed them in some way because he wasn't able to like face his own truth and reality. And I was like, okay, that would have been way more interesting to watch.
Totally.
I'm sorry, it really would have. If you're gonna go there, like go there. And then for them to even have the youngest drink the smoothie out of the very dirty blender. Oh my gosh. Like what kind of child are you raising that you don't clean out the blender before you start mixing it? But that's a whole nother tangent. If the youngest is going to drink the entire smoothie and basically fall out dead on the side of the fucking pool, then let him be dead. What brought him back to life? What? So you're telling me that even if your family would have drank in the entire smoothie, all of them would have come back to life anyway, and like none of this would have mattered?
That's very interesting.
I was furious. And then a girlfriend of mine sent me this clip of another person that was not happy with the family's storyline. And he pointed out and made me like go, oh yeah. Do you remember that whole interaction with Parker Posey's character and the other woman that was like, hey, I remember you from da. Oh my gosh. They had this moment. They were at breakfast or dinner.
I like that. That's a good one.
Wow.
Why is that not a thing? It should be brunch.
I need to calm down. I need to calm down. They were at brunch or dinner or something. And one of the three girlfriends came up to their table and was like, oh my gosh, I remember you from this person's baby shower. Oh my gosh. And Parker Posey's,
like one of the trio.
And one of the trio. And Parker Posey's character was like, no, I don't remember you.
I have totally forgotten that. You're right.
They never
ever came back.
They never cleared that back
That's
up.
a good one.
There's so much stuff in the family storyline that I was like, why did we even go
Yeah.
here? Unless he is making the entire next series about what happens to these people in the aftermath, I'm pissed, David.
Well, that is a take. I wasn't expecting that. That is a take. That's good. Man, okay. So you had some feelings.
Oh, I was
Wow,
irritated.
okay.
I'm still irritated. I was like, I can't wait to get it back into the pod because I got some things to say.
I love it. I think that, man, now you've given me food for thought that I wasn't expecting to feel this way. Well, I had been frustrated with the show the whole time, a little bit. Like I was like, get to the point. You have really good actors here. Like I feel like we're not asking them to do very much, and I felt like the story was just dragging, and I was like, we can all see where this is going. Like we can all see the connections that you're making. Like we see, you know, the security guard was going to eventually have to be a hero, and we see all of these things. Like they were set up from like episode 1 and 2. And to me, I was really frustrated. I allowed myself to actually enjoy the finale a lot more than it sounds like you did. Because I felt like we had like a little like get together. I made lorazepam pills like with like nothing in them, but like as a joke, like for party favors for our friends that came over and watched it. And like, I felt like I called it. First of all, I said he's going to poison them with the fruit because I felt like I had seen that enough of that in the trailer that I was like, that's going to be a thing. So like that's going to happen. I just kind of assumed he'd do it and the family would die, which again, I think is honestly more interesting because,
way more
because we didn't get the resolution. Like you're saying, like they end up on the boat. They all look more haggard, and clearly we have a lot of questions that we haven't gotten to like talk about within the family of like the boys and their relationship together and like where is that going. I kind of thought that the younger kid might end up being a monk because he just didn't want to you know, like face reality, and that the girl, I could tell like the sister daughter, she's out. Like I saw that coming for a minute. I was like, she's gonna sleep there and she's not gonna like it because she's her mom, and it sort of was kind of that. But I kind of thought the younger kid might be like, well, I'm gonna stay because he just like didn't want to address what had happened with the brother. But I was clearly wrong about that. But I kind of thought the whole family would die except for that kid, and then they sort of set it up that way. Again, spoiler alert. We've told you this is it. But then like again, I don't know how he came back to life. You're very, very correct. That's a very interesting thing.
What?
The blender thing, I saw him talk about that on Fallon because he's like, apparently he asked Mike White about that, and he was like, apparently just being a boy. And I'm like, we're not all disgusting.
No.
I would never do that. Like I would never take a blender. That clearly that fruit also, they said out loud, it smells really bad. So if it had sat there and you smelled it, it'd be
all
terrible.
night.
Like you wouldn't just be like, oh, I'm gonna make a shake. So yeah, that frustrated me, and I do feel like the shootout thing, I wanted that to be more impactful than I felt like it was. I understood what we were going for, like Greek tragedy kind of a thing there. But like then all of a sudden, the security guard is their head of security because he shot a guy in the back after having to think about it for a really long time. And then they're leaving, and we didn't get any resolution to like, is he going to jail? Is he like, which I guess that's a choice because we get to then as the viewer have to put those things together. But like, I don't know, we invested enough time that I feel like we could have gotten to that place the episode before, and then maybe had a fallout episode, or like the boat ride home is when he gets the calls that like all like you're going to jail. Like as soon as you land, we're going to jail. Like, so do they turn around and go back to Thailand? Like, I don't know. There's so many ways that you could have like, rather than just them sitting on the thing. So yeah, I don't know. That's where I'm at with it.
For sure. I mean, at least like show us the kid and the mom, the kids and the mom getting the messages. At least like show us their faces that they're now where we have been for the last 8 episodes.
We got Schwarzenegger looking at his phone and kind of doing that to his dad, but that was like all we got.
There
wasn't very much.
Oh, I was not satisfied. Yes, the shootout, fine. The security guard, he shot the other security guard, so she ain't got nobody left. So like by default, like, oh, I guess you're it.
Guess you know how to use a gun. Kinda. Uh,
Yeah, so, White Lotus, I went on the journey and I will continue going on the journey because I'm in this thing
yep.
with y'all. I'm
Yep.
in it. But man, I don't know. I was not
Yeah,
happy, clearly.
the whole concept of that show is it's like a really interesting thing. And I told Ali, I was like, we need to come up with something that I want to write something that's like, I like that idea of a traveling story that's not necessarily the same characters, but kind of like set up in the same way. Like that's very
Yeah.
intriguing, which is why people like the show, I think. It's got a
Yeah.
similar vibe. Well, no, I guess not really. It's actually opposite of that. Ryan Murphy's stuff was like same actors, different stories. So like it was like
Sure.
it's the flip of that. It's like same story, always different people. And he said in that
Yeah.
ending thing too, like he was going to be trying to look at not crashing water on rocks next time. So like more of maybe Allie thinks it'll be like in the snow. She's like, what if you're in the cast that has to go to the snow after everybody else has gone to paradise? And I don't know, that would kind of suck, but it'll be interesting to see where it goes from there. I don't know.
If you're lucky enough to get on White Lotus, I think you could deal with the
100%.
snow.
Yes.
We talked a lot about White Lotus. I know we've got a lot to cover today in less than 40 minutes, but I do want to let you know that I am caught up on the studio. Thank you for sending me the discounted Apple News, the
Yes.
temporary $2.99. If you don't know, now you
For
know.
sure.
Get on that shit. $2.99 for 3 months. Returning and new customers. Thank you so much for doing that, Apple. There's just too many platforms. It's just too much. I can't keep up with it all, but I'm happy to be back in the Apple world for a little bit. But I will let you know that just as the freaking one shot of it all of Adolescence, it just keeps going, as did I. I watched that shit in one fucking day. Too much to watch in one day.
How did that feel? Because it's a little disjointed's probably the wrong word, but like on purpose. Like I actually realized that when we just watched the last one, because we've been going 1 week at a time, and like the story, I guess I anticipated it being more like connected. It's connected because the same people are doing this stuff, but like every episode sits on its own, almost as like a like the.
Yes, some of them are weeks or months
Totally.
apart.
And like the one that was like Chinatown is like very much an episode like Chinatown, like on purpose, like it was like genre, like, and the oneer was very much about like being on set with they're all, that has been surprising to me with that show. Cause the first two, I just thought,
wait, I think we're talking about two different shows. Are you talking about the studio?
You said the studio.
I did, but I transitioned
Adolescence.
into
I
Adolescence.
missed that. My bad.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But yes, no, I agree with you on the disjointedness of the studio.
So you watched Adolescence all at once. So you watched like one long 4-hour take. Okay, now I'm with you, and now I understand why that would be a thing.
A lot.
How'd you feel about the one? How'd you feel about the whole way they do it? Because we talked about that last week too. Like, did you like the ones?
We did. I did. I thought it was a really interesting way to shoot an entire series, even though it's only 4 episodes. I know that was probably a lot for them to do. And that's probably another reason why it was done that way, because it is only 4 episodes. I thought, wow, what a challenge for the actors. And what an exciting love letter to theater actors, which I'm sure a lot of them are, being over there in the UK, because that's very similar to how you memorize and work in stage, right? So I thought I thought it would be a really, really wonderful thing to experience as an actor, for sure. It was a very heavy topic, but again, I know this is also going to be a very controversial statement, but when things are hyped up, it's really hard for me to watch it through a biased, non-expectant.
Like, this better be the best fucking thing I've ever seen.
Yes. And it was like being talked about on so many levels and so many platforms. It was being talked about in the news. It was being talked about amongst artists. It was being talked about just in
Mm-hmm.
education. Like, it's being talked about everywhere. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, what is it? Let me see what this is. And so I wasn't able to just kind of like sit and take it all in. I was being much more critical than I wanted to be. Because that's just who I
Yeah.
am, and I can't necessarily turn that part off. I did not feel
N-
resolved
Not at
in the
all.
story, and I don't think anybody is necessarily supposed
Sure.
to, but I did read an article about the potential of season 2 coming back because it was. Oh, Kevin is
Oh,
watching and
nice. I see
listening
the blue
again. We
dot.
love Kevin, our
Hey,
one listener.
Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin. I did not feel resolved, and I don't think that we were necessarily supposed to feel resolved, because I think there's a lot of shit like this that's happening in our world that doesn't ever, it like gets touched on and there's never any
Yeah.
follow-up, right? We just hear like these little sound bites of all this crazy shit happening in the world, and like so very seldomly do we get the wrap up on exactly what happened. So I get like why that was done, but season 2, what I've heard, should it come back, it's going to be a completely different story, completely different storyline. We're not ever going to get what happened with this particular family.
It's a White Lotus-ish thing then, where they're gonna do a whole different set of people.
Yeah,
Interesting.
a whole different storyline, a whole different type of thing that's happening in the adolescent world and social media and blah blah blah, all those things, because there is so much of it
Yeah, I
happening.
mean I knew I wanted you to watch that one more because I feel like it's like thought provoking. Then I feel like it's the best show I've
Yeah,
ever seen because we were both Allie and I when we watched it were kind of in the same camp. Like we were sort of like we felt like a lot of hype. And I also saw a lot of the technical hype where it was like they did what everything's a 1. And I was like, wait, what? So like
yeah,
my intrigue was partly just from like the like how logistically like how did they pull that off and like is it gonna be good? Because we like even just in trying to organize and shoot comic book club, like talking about shots and like then actually trying to pull them off. Like I had this one big long shot that I wanted to do in that, and everybody told me I was nuts, and I was like, no, like I it can totally work, and it was gonna tie the whole thing together. So like seeing it on like steroids in that it's really cool. And the behind the scenes stuff of like they attach it to a car and then like there's like multiple guys that come from the car and grab it and then go straight in. Like it's really cool. And I would encourage people that are into that to go on Instagram and like learn filmmaking is a good site on there that has like a lot of that behind the scenes stuff. And it's really cool. But storytelling wise, like the Wonders didn't do it for me. And then also I felt like same with you, like it didn't wrap up. There was a lot of time that I felt like we're only experiencing this part of the story because you forced me to watch a 1 where like, it's like a video game where like you go from one stage to the next and there's like story built into it that like we have to do it because I'm still holding the controller and I'm in the car. Like even The Last of Us, like the whole scene where they're driving away, after they get out of the first thing is like a transition scene. And it's a video game feel where it's like, we're forced into this thing and I'm living in that place. And I get the idea of it, but I just felt like there was a lot of filler in that area that we could have like, and gotten more story if we would have done some cutting, but whatever. I
yeah,
mean, like it was cool. And I do think the adolescent storyline part of it is what is important. And also what's like driving a lot of the conversation post is like growing up now is crazy. And not that it's all like that, but like there's just a lot more coming at kids now than ever before. And I just, I don't know. I remember, growing up where we were the first generation with the internet and how we knew how to get around our parents with it. And now it's just, again, on steroids, a much different thing of like the levels of internet that exist now for kids to fall into
yeah.
and go down rabbit holes on. And like, oof. Yeah, heavy show for sure. I'm glad you've watched it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that I did too. I did watch it all in one day, but it dropped me into such an emotional and mental space, and I had a very heavy self tape that I had
Oh,
to
wow.
do,
Good.
and I was able to like use a lot of that in my work, which I was like, oh, this is why this
Totally.
happened
That's
this
awesome.
way. So yeah, something really great
There you
came out of
go.
that.
art to the rescue. I mean, like that's the best. I mean, that's what it's supposed to do, right? It's supposed to make you feel, and then you go do other art that you are fueled by the other art. It's great. That's awesome.
Yeah. But I am enjoying the studio. Just to like touch briefly back on that. We've only got like a half hour left.
Did you see my eyes glance? I did that too. I was like, where are we?
Yeah, I know. Just checking. The studio is very fun. I do not feel like it's an accurate depiction of what is happening in the industry today. Right. I think it's a very romanticized lens view on what's happening in the world. But as much as I love Seth Rogen, and I know that we've already touched on him today, like some of these things that keep happening to him in this series, it's giving me very much Meet the Fockers, Meet the Parents kind of energy, where it's just like one thing after the next that keeps going wrong. And I'm just like, dude, get your fucking shit together. You're a studio head, and you should have your shit way more together than this. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, it's been really irritating me. Like, ugh. But at the same time, I love the love letter to Los Angeles.
Yes, it's very much that. Yeah. I think that similarly, like, I think that the one especially, it was just like, you saw it all coming. And as it's happening, we were just like, no, don't, like, stop, like, don't, like, and it just, that one was so much fuel. That's why I wanted to talk to you about that with the one shot thing. Cause that episode to me was so fueled by that, like, frenetic energy of like the whip, like the one perspective of like, oh shit, this is all happening at once. And like, please stop what you're doing. Like, this is going to go wrong. And like the pleading with it to change. And it never gives you that brief second of like, even like a different perspective. Like, we don't go somewhere else. You are like in the foxhole with him while he is fucking up everything the whole time. And if you've been on a film set, you know, like, it's like the craziest version of how that could ever happen. But it was so funny and so well put together like that. I'm like, the second that he parked his car there, both Allie and I were like, that's coming back to like, what are you doing? Like, you can't just park anywhere. Like, but yeah, that show is definitely a love letter to here. And I just, they're so entertaining, and they make it so entertaining no matter what they're doing, that it's like, it's so watchable and so consumable that like, it's in the darker times that we're in now. It's like a nice little, I know we're going to laugh and have a good time when we watch that one. And Ron Howard screaming and swearing at Seth Rogen is also hilarious. So
brilliant. I love the guest stars. The guest stars of the people just being a heightened romanticized version of themselves. Fantastic. Okay.
What you got?
I think we've spoiled all
okay,
of the
good.
alerts.
No more spoilers. So let's dive into the piece of this that we're a half hour in. Probably should have gotten to this earlier, but here we are. Let's do this.
It's okay.
So I'm just going to give a brief overview of this. So last year, when we were doing this in the summer, on an episode that the video is out on YouTube, the audio we will actually put out later on. We're going to have we have 2 episodes that we never put out on Apple Podcasts, and we're going to put those out at some point. One of them was with my wife, Allie, and us. And in that, we had this discussion, for those that didn't check it out on video, of Tiffany. I noticed a lot when I would communicate with her in text that it would say she's in Do Not Disturb, whatever. And in that conversation, I won't do the whole thing because we're going to put it back up. But basically, both Allie and I were like dumbfounded. Like, how can you live your life? What if somebody needs you? What if there's a job? Because Allie's job, very much more than ours too, is like, she's the only one that's like going after this stuff. Like, it's not like somebody is presenting it to her like an agent or something. Like, she's like chasing work, and work is coming to her from like so many different places that she couldn't feel like she could have that. I also felt that way. So fast forward and we get into my Swerski season, and we never talked about this because, and I didn't realize that you didn't, like, we hadn't ever discussed this because we just kind of fast forwarded to where we're at now. But in the midst of that, so last year, almost this exact same time, I went to the Bears draft. I'm going to make this as fast as possible to get to the point. Went to the Bears draft. I had done a song that kind of blew up when I did that, came back, and the Bears then asked me to write a song for them as an original. They said they couldn't do a parody, but they actually asked me, like, let's do a collaboration and we'll put out a song and then we'll put it out together as the Bears and me, which, like, to me, that's huge. Like, they have like 2 point whatever million followers or something on Instagram. So I was like, I was like, sweet. So like I write a song. I had like a little stem of a song that I had never figured out what it was. And I basically just turned it into a Bears song of like being all excited about the season and excited about the draft picks, whatever. Put it out. The Bears and I put it out together, and my phone like lights up. Like it's like not lit up probably ever. Because when the Bears post something,
so famous.
It was like a very weird new sensation of like, I put it out, my phone immediately, I start seeing like comment. But I of course not in Do Not Disturb ever, and also have all of my notifications on, because at that point with Swerski, I was so in the moment with it, and I was trying so hard to build it that like I would want to know when stuff was happening to then go in and whatever. And that was where my system was sort of programmed in this, is that I felt like I need to be present and ready to respond and tap into my community and talk to them. Lucy thinks so too. And figure out like what was, like what's happening, what do I need to respond to, and try to like make sure I was kicking things into high gear all the time on my own. So what happens is the community of people the Bears showed that to, I didn't have the same following I do now. And I also didn't have I had only been in one season, and I was just so excited to get in front of so many people. There were so many mean, like horrible comments that came through that, like really awful. And so like your phone lights up and you're like, this person hates me. This person thinks I suck at this. This person thinks I'm cringe. And it was like, and it's like what we talked about with the watch last week of like, it like hits you and you want to see what is happening. So I was in that mode where all my notifications were on. I was seeing it all. And I ended up that day was the first day that I was like mute notifications for the day for Instagram so that I didn't have to see it anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like shook because I thought that it was going to be, I guess naively, I thought it would all be positive because so far like everything had been positive. And that response was so crazy negative, and it would like pile on negative. Like people were like trying to have the worst comment that everybody would like, kind of a thing, which is sort of like our society now. Like that's another way to get clicks on Instagram, is to like be the most obnoxious commenter and then have other people be like, that's funny.
The trolls. They call them the trolls.
So from that was kind of the domino that fell in my journey of experimenting with Do Not Disturb. And I'm glad that it happened before the season started, because once I got into the season, my flow of creation with that was song on a Monday, long form on a Wednesday, game preview on the Friday, and rinse and repeat. And so there was really no time for anything else. So I did a couple things. I never turned my notifications back on for social media. So I don't have them on at all. I haven't had them on since since that moment. They have not been on for me. And then, so that gave me the power. I had the key to say, I want to know what's going on in that. And I will now go there and seek out what I want, rather than it being presented to me and interrupting my day in a way that could like totally derail anything else I was doing. Because I am a sensitive, artistic soul, and when people are mean to me, like it takes me a second to be like, why is this person mean to me? What did I do? Like, how do I fix this? Why are you mean to me? Like, why do I deserve this? And I would go down this like horrible spiral and just being like, nope, not doing that anymore. No more notifications, because I was getting so many, which is the good problem. I was able to just like tune that out, and then I could tap in and be like, I'm going to go back and comment in for like 30 minutes now, because I just put up a video. And I would do it usually, and I still do, like early on, to get the people that are like really excited that I put something out to like interact and like have a cool conversation. And then I would see the 99.9% positive stuff that was already there anyway. And I just don't ever see the negative. And if I do, it's like, meh, it didn't like, it wasn't like getting punched in the face with it. Shockingly, it was more like, okay, fine. Like that's one in like 100 comments and it was bad. Like who cares? So huge game changer was no notifications. And then Do Not Disturb piece was in my production of all of that work. I started using Do Not Disturb a lot whenever I was doing stuff. And I don't know why I don't know why I like refused to believe that it could be good. But once I understood what it was like anything. Like, you know, I do the not crossword, but like connections and Wordle and strands. I do that with my mom, and I do it with a family thread. And it was like, even those texts, like to just hear the Bing, the Pavlov's dog response of like, what is Bing?
Yes.
it goes away while
Yes.
I'm in the creation zone of like, I'm in the mode. And like when I'm doing these songs, it all happens really fast. And if I don't allow myself to sit in the stew of that good, bad, indifferent, working out a song, writing a script, like whatever that is, if I don't give myself my space in it, I realized I will throw myself in a bunch of different directions trying to people please, because that's actually what I'm doing is usually like, I want to respond to people so that they know I love them. And the do not disturb thing for me, like was this like pulling, like, I don't know, like uncovering myself from the covers of this like pressure I was putting on myself from my devices, I guess. And then it gave me this space where I think because my success last year with Swerski, I think is a direct correlation to my relationship with my technology and my relationship to social media, which ties this all back to the beginning with what I wanted to talk about in
Yeah.
the first place ever when this was like, come on as a guest before we ever started doing this together, was like that
Yeah.
art versus technology versus, like progress within both and regression in one because of the progress in the other, and like what's happening with all that. And for me, that was like a massive thing. So first of all, thank you. Cause you
You're
were the first
welcome.
person that really put it on my radar in a different way other than just like knowing it was a thing. It was like, no, somebody's like getting something from this, like, and then I guess thank you to the mean people too, because they also sort of forced my hand to be like, I can't survive this the way that I'm doing it. I have to figure out another way. And I don't want to quit what I'm doing because there's some mean people in the world. So like it was a game
Yeah.
changer for me, like really like fully changed the game. So
Yeah. Oh, I'm really happy to hear that you've had such a
yeah,
180 on your view on do not disturb. I do think that you said it very well, the Pavlov's dog conditioning. Um but this is what these devices and this is what these companies, they want us to stay engaged with the phone. They want us to stay on these social media platforms, and they do everything that they can to make sure that they are consuming, that they are getting as much of our eyeballs and our
yep,
money as they possibly can. But I realized quickly, and I'm not really sure when I started the do not disturb, but the when I teach, because I teach fitness classes, I'm using my device to teach my classes. And in order for me to not be interrupted during those, I have to put it on some sort of focus mode. So I have different modes. Like a do not disturb is like a basic do not disturb. And then I have a work mode where it's like literally nothing can break through that, because there's nothing worse than being in the middle of a fitness
buddy.
class and your mom's
Yeah.
calling. You know
No
what I mean?
FaceTime,
Like,
no
mom,
FaceTime.
still
That's
alive.
hilarious.
But I know that was like just an automatic, like my phone just has to be in this mode for me to get this portion of my work done. But then I started to realize, like, I don't want, just because my phone is making noise does not mean that I need to go check out what that
Right.
is. And I need to be able to continue to live my life in a way that is helping and shaping and building my mental health, as opposed to destroying it and breaking it down. Like, it is so easy for us as artists, as people, to get
Yep.
derailed by one little thing that happens on our phone, and it still happens all the time for me. And I'm like, wow, I just wasted 43 minutes of my day, and I needed those 43 minutes to do
Yep.
something else. So it makes me so happy that you can see it, like, when you zoom out of your massive project that you have going on, like how it affected you from one season to the
Yeah.
next. That is awesome, and I'm so thankful that you were even open to the idea of what do not disturb is. Because, you guys, when you listen to this episode, that when we talked about it before, David was like, I like I need to get a hold of you,
Yeah,
Tiffany.
yeah. I was very skeptical. I was like, but what about, which like you can force your way
Yeah.
in. Like if Allie needs me, like she can say notify anyway. So like there are ways to like, you're
Yes.
able to structure it. Like you said, like there's so many
Yeah.
breakdowns. And I think if I'm being honest, I think part of my relationship with it was coming from Apple Brain because I, worked for that company and I was
Yes.
so I had to know how all that stuff worked. And I had to also
Yeah.
know how to use my device to enrich my life, right? Rather than like, no, your device sometimes is fucking with your life. Like sometimes you need to put it down. And because everything that I do creatively, for the most part at this point, has digital stuff. It's either an iPad, a phone, a computer, like my, audio recording is in the computer. My, everything has something to do with this stuff. So even as we're doing this, like I have a window on the side of like all the other stuff that I have open all the time. And like we're on Do Not Disturb while we're doing this episode. Cause like you said, we're recording. So like, I don't want something to come through. So that's like the most basic version of it. But like, having these windows possible to interrupt you at any moment when you're in a flow can be like the most detrimental thing. But the flip side of it is how much I do use digital stuff to make things. So like, I think that is where it's like your own personal relationship with it, where I wasn't ready in my relationship journey to give it up, earlier. Like I was like, no, like I need to know when things are happening. And I was in very much the birthing of Swerski still, where I was like, I need to know everything that's going on with like, what if somebody like reaches out from a brand, like what, like, and I don't see it. And I don't see that because like, again, my people pleasing thing is like, if I don't respond to them right away, they're probably going to go to somebody else. And I know that was Allie's thing because for her, that is actually reality. Like for her, like somebody needs somebody on, next Monday. And if she doesn't respond right away, that person thinks like, I need to find somebody else. And so they go to somebody else, like, are you available Monday? And then they are. So like, there's different levels of this. And I think that's, again, like, it's like that, your own personal relationship with what makes sense to you within your own world. And I'm still learning it for myself too, but like, it's been a game changer to realize I don't have to be on call, I guess is like the way, like, I just don't have to respond to you right away for me to care about you or to care about what you need from me.
Well, I think it also comes back to like your relationship with trust and faith, right? I've been posting a lot about things that are meant for you, not passing you by. Everything that is meant for you is going to find you, no matter how long you take to respond to it.
Sure.
Right? If you are the person that is meant to be on this job and you are the person that is like the best fit for this particular job or this particular opportunity, like they are going to be patient or it will come back around.
Totally.
Right? You know what I mean? Like, and that's a relationship that is within yourself. I don't always get back to people in a timely manner. And that is something that I am working on because I live my life in Do Not Disturb for so much. My peace is way more important to me than like people pleasing at this stage of the game. And that was not always the case for me. And I do think that my life and where I'm at in my career is a direct reflection of that. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily a great thing. But I do know like what I have the capacity for on a day-to-day basis. And that has absolutely changed as I've gotten into my 40s, and things that are meant to be in my life have found their way back to me or have found their way through the Do Not Disturb.
Totally. I just think it's a really, I feel like we could all benefit from taking time within our own world of device and stuff to realize like, and there's things built into them to try to help with that, like screen time and like understanding how much time you're devoting to the thing. But like, it's just different. And I don't know if because we do creative stuff too, that I don't know, like I'm trying to think of what I want to say with this. Like, it's like diving into something so full bore, it like makes sense to eliminate distraction, where I used to think the distraction was enhancing. Like I can, like, but again, it's the balance and the relationship with it that actually can either accentuate what you're doing or diminish what you're doing. And even in Swerski, like I use a ton of stuff within the internet. Like I'm looking up chords for different songs, or I'm looking up, like songs that have to do with this, or I'm looking up rhyme schemes and things like that. Like I use digital technology, and I'm so grateful that it's at my fingertips in my life because it has simplified a lot of things. But like, some of the joy of doing anything creative and completing a creative task, going from start to finish, is what happens in the middle. And it's that whole thing of like, I'm not hoodoo voodoo about the whole thing. And Rick Rubin is very like the creative act, which is sitting on my tabletop over there. It's like all of that stuff is beautiful to think about, like the simplicity of creativity and like who it's for and who it's not. But like when you're doing it for your job also, there is some level of like, it's a little bit more than the hoodoo voodoo of it all. But the beauty of anything is that space in between where you learn what you're capable of versus what you thought you were limited to. Like maybe there's a song I didn't think that I could ever sing. And like in the doing of learning it, I'm like, oh, I can sing that. Like that's the thing. Or I never knew what that chord progression was. And now I've learned that knowledge, and that all happens in this like beautiful, frustrating, complex puzzle that you're putting together to make a creative thing, that like these distractions are not helping you in that process. And I think I just needed to, I guess, firsthand have that happen and have that epiphany for myself of like, that is not the thing that is going to help. And the other thing is that now I know when to dive in, and I can control it more if I'm on a do not disturb or on, like not getting external notification bings, but being able to still go into the technology and find out what I want on my terms rather than the device's terms, which is like what you're saying. Like the device wants you to be glued. And I think it's finding that difference between like, I must be glued versus like, I go in when I want and I use it in my own way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You took your power back. I think the kids call this being locked
Let's
in.
Go. My millennial brain can't comprehend.
I think that's what the kids are saying these days. Yes, you have found a way to be completely locked in to your creativity without being derailed by all of these extra things. And I am so proud of you for that.
Thank you for the suggestion.
There was never any judgment. It was just a suggestion like, hey, try life like this for a little bit and see how it feels. And I'm so glad that you did.
And there's something too, I think that's also beautiful that I'm learning as a person, that like in that people pleasing, I want to get back to people right away nature, you lose a little bit sometimes of yourself of like, it's okay to accept those things on your own terms or at your own timeline. We're in such an instant version of living. Everything is so fast and everything is get back to me right away. And everything is like, we're in the high anxiety era too of like, people are get anxiety if you don't get back to them too. And I have always been such a, for sure, people pleaser and a receptor to how other people are feeling, that I would never want to be the one that didn't validate somebody, make them feel seen, whatever that is. And even somebody, like it's responding to people at your own timeline. And I think it's helped me with that when I'm not in do not disturb too, that like, I don't have to like respond to everybody the second that something happens, where that used to be sort of my go-to was like, I need to respond right away to everything, whether that be an agent email or family member outreach or friend that's, hey, what are you doing? And it's like, no, I need to like protect my space right now. Like all of it. I don't know. It just helped all the way around.
I don't know. I find it to be a little bit more mysterious and sexy when people are like, I'm like, what are they doing? Why aren't they getting back to me? You know what I mean? Like, they must be up doing to something. They must be doing something.
And that is a powerful thing in our position, because when you are totally available for everything all the time, I think that there is a fundamental feeling on the other side of like, why are they so available all the time? And I was making myself that available when really like I had a lot of other stuff going on. I just wasn't giving myself the permission to own everything that is with my work, because it is work. And that entire time that I'm in production on a shoot that I'm doing for Swerski or something like that, it's like the most relevant current example for me. That is a all-encompassing, really long, like just the filming is 3 hours, just the edit is 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, it depends. Just the writing is a couple hours, the learning of the song, all of that is important. And all of it is stuff that like I need to protect my own space for. And Yeah, it's if you haven't used it, friends who are listening and watching, I highly recommend if you want to dive into something, even if it's just like reading a book or like something that you don't give yourself permission to do, or when you watch a movie, Do Not Disturb is great to just not have that external pressure of like, oh my God, something might happen in these 2 hours. Yeah,
Might.
might.
Well, congratulations. I think that's a great segue into tell me something
Tell me
good, because
something good.
I feel like your most recent video is doing very well in a very short amount of
It's
time.
doing
You want to talk about
sure.
it?
I just put out a draft video this week. It's been interesting because I've sort of allowed myself the space to not feel like I had to put out as much for the past few months, I guess, knowing that I'm going to go back into a really heavy phase of it. And, I put out kind of the first relevant thing within the Bears thing again. And it's doing pretty well. It's I don't know, over 100K on Instagram and 60 on TikTok or whatever, which is like, for having left it alone for a long time to then come back and still have like
Yeah.
the interaction that I have I'm super grateful to the people that are still reaching out. I mean, I've done quite a few cameos in the meantime too with that. And it's cool. I had a really successful launch of my new merch too. So it's pretty cool.
Business is
I hope.
booming.
Yeah. That's my tell me something good. And we're going to Chicago next week. So, we are going to go for, the draft. I don't think I'm going to the draft party. The Bears just like totally ghosted all the people that they invited last year. So I don't think I'm going to go to the party, but, we're going to find somewhere to go. And then I'm doing a talk show on Friday of next week that in character and everything. So that'll be fun.
That is so exciting. So you were invited to come do the talk show, and then you just decided to go to some other things as Dave
So
as
last
well.
year they invited me and a guest to go to Soldier Field for the draft, and we had the number 1 and number 10 pick last year. So last year was like a really big deal. So I don't know if they wanted more influencers,
Okay.
but there was an influencer marketing agency that reached out to a bunch of the influencers and said, you have VIP tickets in exchange for a reel or whatever. And that has not happened this year. And I was trying to build the talk show piece around that because it's the day after the draft night, but instead we're just going to go sort of take a quick little vacation there. Watch the draft somewhere at a bar in character, and then do the
Amazing.
talk show Friday and then fly back Saturday. So yeah, it'll be cool.
Very
And I have another
cool.
new song next week too. So
He's on it, friends. He's on it. I invite you to in transition from calling yourself an influencer into calling yourself a content creator.
Yes.
Because I do feel like there's a very big difference, and there's a much more negative connotation on the influencer than there is on the content creator. And you are a creator of content,
Absolutely.
my friend, like with capital C's. My
Thank
goodness.
you very much. Very nice of you.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Goods.
What you got?
I will wrap this up with a couple of great things that have happened for me as well. We haven't talked about it much on the podcast, but I'm renovating my family home in Palm Springs, and it's been an absolute nightmare, but I'm starting to finally like make a little bits of progress. And I got my air conditioning and heat HVAC system installed in my home last week. I have not been able to go there and see it and experience cool air in my home, but I have not had air conditioning in my home in Palm Springs in over 15 years.
But now you can break ice in there.
I still don't have a floor or a sink, but we got AC.
You can bring in ice. It won't melt as fast. How about that?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. I got some really great feedback on one of my self-tapes from my managers. Like 2 of my managers from the company reached out to me individually and were like blown away by my work this week in one of my self-tapes. And I haven't gotten feedback like that in a very long time. And it's very easy to fall into the space of like, what am I doing and why am I doing this? I was so successful as an actor once before. I'm not sure I can do it again, but I got revived by my team this week that like I'm doing some good shit, and I'm happy to be putting that out there. And I'm also working on another project pro bono, but I've been reunited with
Oh,
dance.
nice.
I was a professional dancer for a very long time out here, and I haven't moved my body in that way in a really, really, really long time. But I was approached by an old dance teacher of mine that is looking for actors that can dance really well. And I was like, I'm not sure if I'm your girl, but I'm going to give it a really good effort. And we went back into the dance studio this week, and I put my jazz shoes on, David,
Yeah.
and I was sashaying and sliding across this floor and doing floor work and feeling and emoting in all of the ways. And I feel so good to be connected with my body in that
Ah,
way
that's so
again.
good.
So
Good for you. All the way around. Like you do not understand how if any casting directors end up listening to this, good feedback for good work, even if the person doesn't get the part. It's so important. It's just like it's the
it
food that
really is.
fuels the continuing down the path when like there is no certainty ever for any of us, but like god damn, it
Yeah.
feels good to just like know that your work is at least like acknowledged and seen. So good for you, like to hear that again, because
Thank you.
everybody needs you to be
Yeah.
acting and to be seen. So it's good to hear that you're being fueled. That's awesome.
Thank you, my
Yeah.
friend. What a wonderful, wonderful hour I got to spend
Yeah,
with you. Thank you
I love
so
this space, and
much.
I hope that the people listening like this space as well. And let us know. You can comment on our stuff on Instagram or on YouTube, and let us know what you'd like us to talk about. If there's something that we have talked about that you want to hear more about, or anything like that, please do let us know. And I don't know, this space means a lot to me, so I'm excited that we're doing this.
Means a lot to
Yeah,
us. It means a lot to us. And thank you, Kevin,
yeah,
for
Kevin.
always tuning in. Our one viewer on
I will tell
YouTube,
you, my friend
our
Pat,
live
he's
viewer.
coming at some point. He's like, I can't let Kevin keep getting all the attention. He told me flat out, he's like, your podcast is so great, and I can't let Kevin have all the love. So I'm gonna try to watch it live. So Pat, when you're ready, we're ready for you.
We appreciate it. We love this so much, and no matter what, we're gonna keep
Yeah,
going. So
absolutely.
tune in next time,
Yeah,
friends. See you next time in
we
the
potted,
pod.
we potted so hard. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.